Most ground beef now cost more than $6 a pound, and prices are not expected to drop anytime soon. Tonight, KLTV7's J.D. Conti shows us why East Texas ranchers are having to make tough decisions that ultimately have you paying the price.
J. Scott Herron opens his fridge like everyone else. But as a Smith County rancher, he sees the beef shortage from both sides.
I think what we're going to experience for the next couple of years is a continued shrinking of the herds.
That means your grocery bill keeps climbing. Ground beef hit more than $6 a pound last month. Since 2020, beef prices have surged. Last year, the USDA reported the nation's cattle herd shrank more than expected. Texas alone lost 30,000 cows.
We're at kind of a wash for the year with our cow numbers.
Jason Clear is a beef cattle specialist with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. He says ranchers faced an impossible choice.
Prices for their cattle was very low. At the same time, we saw a run up in input cost.
For some, it became more profitable to sell breeding cows than to keep them.
You can reap higher margins than going ahead and finishing them out, taking them to the processor.
Fewer breeding cows means fewer calves. Fewer calves means less beef. Less beef means higher prices at your grocery store. Drought made it worse. Now, ranchers are trying to rebuild. Texas ranchers held back 50,000 heifers last year, 8% more than normal, to grow their herds.
Finding the good mothers and then making sure that we find the proper bull to put on each of those herds so that we create generations of cattle that continue to birth well.
But rebuilding takes time, and ranchers are competing for land.
Grandfather always said, Jason, they're not making any more ground, so if you've got an opportunity to buy it, buy it.
There's another problem.
Small, mid-sized farmers get stuck making that decision of, do I continue this path when perhaps their children and the other younger generation is not as interested?
J.D. Conti, KLTV 7 News.
And another problem here, a lack of cattle coming in from Mexico. Livestock imports have been halted since May because of the threat of the New World screwworm.